welcome to the Property Frontline. Today I'm talking with Victor Idoko. Victor is a financial planning specialist, and so just a big hello. Hi, Victor.
Hi, Debra.
So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yes, so what I do is I like to see those creating opportunities for people. And, these opportunities are for them to actually achieve their goals and objectives. That's the main thing we look at, and that's the kind of, concrete advice given. How we do that is, looking at strategic and holistic planning for these individuals. And usually that involves wealth creation, wealth management, and wealth protection as well. So lots of wealth in there, but we really focus on the client's objectives, because end of the day, objectives need some kind of wealth to actually help them get there.
So some planning.
Sorry, come again?
So some planning when you say.
Yeah, exactly. So, you can be planning to get that next investment property, or planning to get that next or upgrade to your current residential house, and you need planning to get there. You might need some more money for that. You might need a bigger deposit than what you currently have. So if you do that well in advance, a few years in advance, there's a very strong chance of hitting that goal.
And so the planning sessions, how long do they take?
So planning sessions will range on the complexity. For example, for one of my clients who was the first time they were seeing a planner, young clients, but it was a little bit complex because they were planning to get a house, they're planning to get an investment property, they're planning to start a portfolio. So that can take anything from 4 hours to 10 hours face-to-face time. Okay. And what happens at the back end is even a lot more. So about 2-3 times that. So usually for simple advice, about 4 hours, split over 2 meetings. For complex advice, look, it just depends on the complexity.
Yeah, and the tailoring. Okay, so today we're talking about actually protecting assets. So can you talk to us about the ways people can protect their assets?
Yes. So with protection, generally there are 2 main ways you can protect your assets. One is being self-insured. That way, you're taking the risk and you have enough funds to replace your house, or replace the car, or replace your income if you can't work. That's one way. The other way is actually outsourcing. And most people will tend to outsource because it's a relatively more flexible way. Because you can then do what you want with your funds and know that someone is there to actually help you with some protection. And that's when you use something like an something like an insurance company to actually help you do that. So those are the 2 main ways: self-insurance, or you outsource the risk.
Yeah, and so your protection should be appropriate to the amount of assets, shouldn't it? So as you acquire more assets, you would change up your protection.
Yes. So it is definitely tailored to what that individual needs. And look, the more assets you have, yes, the more protection you need as well. Having said that, it gets to a point where you have enough assets that you do not actually need to outsource that protection. So what that means is that your assets can actually protect themselves, because some of them don't need you to be there. A classic example would be a few investment properties. You don't really need to do anything. It just kind of does itself, works for itself, and provides some protection if you cannot work. The same really goes for what I call our most valuable assets, which is our ability to work, to earn money, to actually then buy physical assets. So the more you earn as well, the more protection you need. But it gets to certain points that, look, your physical assets can actually take care of your human capital, which I would argue is your most valuable asset.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. And so how do you help people decide what they need, because there's a different range of insurance choices, isn't there?
Yes, yes, there is definitely a huge range out there. Sometimes even too much for us to keep up with. But the good thing is, look, we have tools that are given to financial advisors that actually help us choose what protection or what insurers are actually better. But in terms of helping the clients, in terms of coming up with what they need, because some clients, most people would have about 10 objectives, you know, yeah, and we bring that out of in them by the time we actually sit down with them. But
Yeah.
is putting them into a priority or a hierarchy to know which comes first, and to also know that, look, I need this for sure and this I can do without, and then helping them make sure we get to what they want. And in that priority as well comes the priority or the hierarchy for actually protection. Just going back to, you know, the human capital. For someone that doesn't have enough physical assets yet, you know, you need to protect that ability to earn money, because with that protection and with that peace of mind comes, you know, you being able to do everything else and gain as much physical wealth that you can then reduce the, you know, outsourced insurance. So to summarize my answer, hierarchy and prioritizing, that's the main thing.
Yeah. Mm. Sounds good. Okay, so what trends or changes do you see on the horizon for people who are trying to manage, you know, their financial targets and financial future?
Mm, mm. I think one of the ones that, you know, just keeps growing and growing is the complexity. You know,
Yeah.
even just looking at your super, or looking at, you know, an investment, or even just buying a property as well, it's getting more complex than it used to be. So I see increased complexity. I see increased specialization as well. Um, I also see, you know, increased automation, which helps because, look, with complexity, you need some things to be done automatically for you, and
Mm.
that helps. And I think with all these, what I encourage and kind of really get people to do, because with all these trends, is to have the right professionals behind you.
Mm.
You know, it's very important to have the right buyer's agent, very important to have the right accountant, very important to have the right lawyer and financial planner. And one person cannot do all these for you.
No, no, I think that's a real trap where people, like busy people, will try and get as much as they can from like a one-stop shop situation, and that's a real trap, isn't
Mm.
it?
Oh
Because
yeah.
you don't get that really deep knowledge that each of the service providers has, and and that really good perspective and the independence, because
Mm.
you, you don't want someone to give you a certain amount of advice because it means that they're going to be able to charge you more. You
Mm.
want a panel of people that will really just have your best interests in mind.
Yes, yes. No, I totally agree. And just something to add on that as well. Look, with the clients that are very busy and, you know, can afford to actually have all these professionals, the good thing is by the time we all sit down together, there might be a few differences, and, you know, being able to handle that as professionals and with the client, it's such a value to the client, because it's like, okay, maybe we should do it this way, maybe we should do it that way, but then we come to an agreement, and that's what's really needed to put the client in a better position.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. And so, lastly, can you give us a few tips for people who are trying to build wealth through property, whether it's just their home or a couple of investment properties?
Mm, mm. So I think it goes back to my last point. You want a trusted professional by your side. You know, there's so many things that you may not think about or you may not do as a professional will do. So you need that professional to actually help you go through that. And, you know, with that as well comes, you know, the ability to actually automate a few things. You know, um, taking building an investment property portfolio. Yes, you can do that, but the few things can be automated, like giving the real estate agent some flexibility as to, okay, if you to fix a cost and it's below a certain amount, they should just do it, and it gives you more time to actually enjoy the wealth, enjoy the time with family. So use technology, get professionals behind your back, and just don't focus on one thing, because you might really want to build a property portfolio, but look at some protection as well. Look at other things that can help you. Sit down with other professionals as well, and the one person to actually put you in the right direction would be the buyer's agent which you're using, because they have connections that can actually help you make those right decisions as well.
Yeah, but by working together, of course, you get a better outcome, because you'll have insights that can't be provided. So maybe ways to, leverage a person's wealth so that they can buy more, or even, optimize what they have. Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, one thing just to add as well. One thing that I've actually recently done for a client is, it gets to a point where you've kind of maxed out your borrowing capacity. You have a large amount of investment properties. Then there might be other ways to actually kick in terms of investing in funds. And that's where you're not just limited to one aspect in growing your wealth, but you have other channels. So there are just so much things that can be done, especially with those that have that are interested and want to grow that wealth to create opportunities for themselves.
Yeah, and I think because the rules and the legislation are changing all the time, it's so nuanced, isn't it? And if people don't get that really detailed and up-to-date advice, it can really lead to dramas down the track, and paying much more tax down the track, or limiting, the optimization of your assets.
Yeah.
You might not be able to draw out as much capital as you might have if you had got advice right from the start. Yeah, because what I see is some people just really do focus on, buying the property, particularly when we're in the market that we're in.
Yes.
And really, it's better to take a step back and look at the full range of your options from a finance perspective and financial planning perspective first, and then go, oh, okay, right, this is the best way forward. But yeah, alrighty, well, that was lovely. So how can we find you? Your website? Yes?
Yeah. Yes, so I'm very active on social media. I think that's something I'm trying to build with myself and the firm. And look, you can find us on LinkedIn and under CFV Services. And once you get the name correctly, which is CFV Services, you can find us on LinkedIn, you can find us on Instagram, you can also find us on YouTube. So it's
And what does CFV stand for?
Good question. So it's creating financial value. That's the way. Yeah, that was the idea behind the CFV, and leads to kind of I was saying, which is creating opportunities for people through financial planning and investment education. So we're really strong on giving someone the opportunity they want. What do you want for yourself, and we try and make that happen for you.
Yeah,